I'm Eric Allen inside our Florham Park studios as our trip around the AFC East continues. Offenses are focused today as we'll be joined by Patriots play-by-play voice Bob Socci, Miami Dolphins team reporter Greg Likens, and BuffaloBills.com lead journalist Chris Brown. Let's start our coverage in Foxborough where Bob Socci is standing by. Bob, just how different does that offensive backfield look after Shane Vereen departed in free agency?
Well, you've got a guy in LeGarrette Blount, who, of course, had a lot of experience with the Patriots and production the last 2 years as a big, powerful running back. And thereafter, Brandon Bolden is a guy who's really been a quality player on special teams and has fared pretty well when given the opportunities. You know, certainly he is in the mix coming into this season. But then you've got a guy like James White, drafted out of Wisconsin last year. Many believe after a redshirt season, in essence, for him, he's poised to kind of take over that role that Shane Vereen occupied so well the last couple of years in particular. There's a guy like Jonas Gray who had the enormous Sunday night game against Indianapolis with over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns a year ago. And he's a guy who certainly is in that mix. And then there are a couple of other long shots, including Dion Lewis. I think the guy has raised some eyebrows watching him, for what it's worth, in the non-contact OTA and minicamp practices that we've been privy to.
Thanks, Bob. Now we head south to Miami, Florida, to dissect the Dolphins offense that underwent an off-season makeover. Greg, is it fair to say with that new personnel, the Dolphins are going to put more of an emphasis of getting the ball down the field in 2015?
Well, that's been the big thing that the detractors say about Ryan Tannehill, and rightfully so. He hasn't been able to connect on the deep ball, and I think that we've already seen this offseason, Ryan Tannehill with Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills, and a bunch of the other young receivers on this roster taking time away from the facility to work out together. So, I think there's going to be more of a concerted effort to get the ball down the field, and I think that between Kenny Stills, who brings speed to the team, and then Devontae Parker and Jordan Cameron down the middle of the field as well, I think that there should be more success. And if there isn't more success throwing the ball down the field, then clearly Tannehill's got an issue. But the Dolphins are betting that as he continues to get better, is more comfortable with the group around him, that is going to improve. And really that's the missing ingredient for this Dolphins offense.
Where are the Dolphins right now as far as the offensive line is concerned?
Yeah, I think to me that's the biggest question mark entering the upcoming season. The Dolphins' offensive line the last 2 years has given up a league-high 104 sacks, and there's question marks regarding Brandon Albert's readiness for Week 1. But really what the Dolphins are concerned about right now is both offensive guard spots. There is literally an open competition at the guard spot. I talked to John Benton, the offensive line coach, and he told me that it's really up for grabs. So that's going to be the most intriguing position battle to watch for Dolphins training camp. And if these guys can't play well up front, then as you've noted, whether it be going up against the Jets or Bills, especially within the division, Tannehill and that offense is going to pay because there's formidable defensive lines throughout the AFC and especially the AFC East.
Greg, we can't thank you enough for your time. Let's wrap up our AFC East coverage in Orchard Park, New York with my buddy Chris Brown. When I had heard that Rex Ryan had hired Greg Roman, I immediately thought perfect fit because if you followed the 49ers the past few years, they were effective running the football. What jumps out at you about the Roman scheme?
In a word, I think it's variety. This is a guy that will try anything and everything to make the run game work, whether it's, setting them up for one particular play that comes later in the series or in the next series. I don't know if there's anybody in the league that incorporates tight ends into the blocking scheme of run games more than Greg Roman does. I mean, if you look at some of his San Francisco tape, you'll see 7 offensive linemen out there. To a man, I mean, these players here, some of them, including like Fred Jackson, who's been in the league 10 years, has said, I've never seen a playbook this big in my life. And it just keeps defenses guessing so much. Work in San Francisco, they think it can work here too.
There are some playmakers on the outside there in Buffalo. Do you think this team is going to try to get some of these speed guys out in space with the short passing game, or are they going to take their shots down the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really going to be, and I'm not trying to dodge your question here, but I do think it is going to be a mix of both. I mean, I think this team is still going to be wholeheartedly committed to running the football, and I think the passing game gets mixed in. But you're right, there is a boatload of talent there, and I think the biggest beneficiary is actually going to be Watkins, because Watkins was doubled, 6 ways to Sunday. I think there's enough weapons there to convince Greg Roman to turn to the passing game when he needs to, provided there's enough faith that the quarterback has come along far enough in this offense. That's a big if right now, though.